Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. We're here today with special guest W.T. Hamilton, who's here to share with us his new book, Infinite Actuality. The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. So are you ready to dive into the heart of cosmic consciousness and the boundless mysteries of existence? Well, today's guest is going to share with us just that. So W.T. Hamilton is a dynamic and multi-award winning author known for his groundbreaking one-chapter book series, which helps driven entrepreneurs tackle business challenges one chapter at a time. His acclaimed works include The Promise and The Harsh Truths, which have earned him numerous accolades and a dedicated following. So let's welcome to the show, W.T. Hamilton.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about Infinite Actuality. What inspired you to write this book?
It wasn't so much inspiration. It was kind of like this was gnawing at me to write, and I didn't really want to dive into this because it's really peeling back the layers of reality. But it felt like it's something that I needed to do to expand on the third section of the book, Extreme Actuality. I did it in a way, not in the way that you normally would think people would want to write, but I felt like I needed to do this, even though I didn't really want to put it out just because it's so deep.
It is a very deep and very compelling read, and I really liked how you touched on the themes of cosmic consciousness. Can you expand on that for our listeners?
So when I was talking in the first book about the universe and explaining how to tap into your personal power, your creativeness, I realized that this whole spiritual connection that we've always had as people was this cosmic consciousness, that these ideas come from somewhere else. They come from somewhere outside of you, and the ideas float around, and information and insight floats around. And once you're ready and able to understand it, you can tap into it and accept it. And it's kind of a way that we can communicate with something outside of us, something beyond what we really understand. And so I kind of dive into how that works, how to do that with your thoughts and your feelings. And it just felt like this cosmic consciousness was a great way to explain the spiritual side of creativity.
I understand you did a lot of research for this book into ancient civilizations and their connection to cosmic consciousness. Can you expand on that for us?
So the whole premise, what I wanted to do was, so I introduced in the book before this one, the universe, and I wanted to show, like, this is how you tap into the universe and take the reader back to the beginning when the narrative and the context for reality wasn't really set yet, and really put the reader in the room and start to understand what it's like to go through that journey. And through that, I started realizing, okay, there's all these artifacts and all these things that are left behind as kind of guides for us, warnings for us, or insight to things that had happened before. And so as I researched that, I realized that that's all connected to cosmic consciousness, and wanted to really kind of tie that into the journey I was taking the reader on, and how all these things that we know exist, that we have, they're artifacts, they're things that you can touch, you can research, and how does that tie into spirituality, and how does that tie into our infinite actuality?
Well, in the subtitle of the book, I felt was very provocative. You talk about the truth is stranger than fiction. So,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
So it's very unbelievable when you start to dive into the layers, start peeling back the layers of reality, and looking at like things like these artifacts and why they're here and how did they get here. As you're peeling back those truths, if you were writing this as a purely science fiction, it would be unbelievable. And then to know that this stuff is there, and how did it get there, and how are we where we are now from where we began in the beginning of time as we know it, it really is a lot stranger than the fiction things that you read about. it kind of blows your mind that like this is real. That's kind of where I left at. Like, this is real, like, really. This is very strange.
I understand you had some very surprising revelations and finds while writing this book. Can you share a couple of those with us?
Yeah. So one of the things I think that really jumped out was I realized that we have this curated narrative. I really dove into, okay, well, what was life like before this curated narrative, and then how was that developed, and how does that curated narrative kind of limit what we're thinking is possible for us and possible as a society. What stood out to me was there was a very good reason to create a curative narrative, and it served a purpose for a very long time. And now we're kind of outgrowing that reason and that purpose, and that's, I think, why a lot of people are starting to question reality, and look at the simplified explanation of reality. And then when you start to peel back and really dig into what reality is, it is infinite, but it's also a lot stranger than the simplistic narrative that we've stuck to for so long.
You mentioned encounters with otherworldly beings in your book. Can you elaborate on these encounters and their significance in the book?
Yeah. So how it started was that I was looking at, okay, what would it have been like to be the hunter gatherer, and then to come across something you've never seen before with this primitive language that you have, that it's not it's there's not enough words to be able to explain what you're seeing. You don't have any context to what you're seeing. And so I really walked the reader through what would it have been like for something to, you have these stars every night, you look up at these stars, and you feel this connection to something beyond you, but you don't know what it is. And then all of a sudden, one day, one of these stars comes down and observes you, and you observe it. And what would that be like? And then how would you try to explain that? And so I talk to people, and I always tell them, like, say if you had a dream, you're dreaming, you're sleeping, and in your dream, you discover a color that nobody's ever seen before. And even with our sophisticated language, how would you explain and describe a color that you've never seen before? And so that's kind of where I come at with the extraterrestrial stuff, is like, how would you explain that to somebody? And by seeing that, would you not think that they're superior to you and they're godly like? They're beyond anything that you could imagine, and your imagination hasn't even developed to be able to come up with these kind of things. So you're seeing this thing that you can't explain for the first time, and I found was very profound in the book, and that's at the beginning, and then that kind of sets the pace for all the things that I'm talking about in the book that really relates to infinite actuality.
So, how do you see the interconnectedness of all things?
Well, when you're looking at your spirit is talking to you all the time, and everything is engaging with this cosmic consciousness. So as you see that everything is connected, before we had a curative narrative, we respected everything, and we just took everything as, but this must be real because this is here, and this is something I'm experiencing. So we would have really real concerns for the environment, real concerns for the food we're eating, how we're treating the planet, because the planet was everything for us. Without the planet, we wouldn't exist. And I don't think that's really changed, but people's perception changed to becoming where everything was created just for us to use and abuse however we wanted, and then we're leaving and we go somewhere else, and not understanding that everything's connected. Everything that you do is connected. Even the way you speak to someone, it can connect to other people that you might not even know. And to be conscious of that, I think really helps you to understand this whole cosmic design, this whole reality that we're living in, and how it actually works.
Yeah, it seems that there's just so much there and how we're all connected to one another. And I just found that so fascinating. And one of the things you talk about in your book is the spiritual connection and how intuition play this major role in infinite actuality. And I'd love for you to share that with our listeners.
Yeah. So when you have an idea or you suspect something, you get that feeling inside you. And so everything is about feelings and energy. You get that feeling inside you that says, hey, you should look into this, or hey, this doesn't seem right. Something seems off. This, 1 plus 1 doesn't add 2. Why is that? And when you're following that intuition, it will guide you to discover things that maybe you wouldn't have looked into before. It will guide you away from things that maybe it's not for you. It's not time for you to look at that, or experiences that you want to have. Like intuition, what it is, it's part of that cosmic connection, and it's vibrating with you to say, hey, you're on the right path. Hey, this is something you should be doing. Or if you have that intuition where you shouldn't be doing that, it's telling you that's not the path that you should be going on. A lot of times we don't listen to our intuition, and then we experience the thing we didn't want to experience, and then we realize that, oh, that hunch I had, I should have followed it. That was something trying to guide me to not experience this thing that I had to experience because I ignored it.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with W.T. Hamilton in regards to his new book, Infinite Actuality. The truth is stranger than fiction. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Are you an author, speaker, or expert who is looking for more publicity? Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up for free interview requests from shows looking for guests. Radio Guest List is the #1 free booking resource for radio, podcasts, and TV talk shows who are looking for experts like you right now. Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up today to get the visibility you deserve.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special. When you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
It's one thing to become attached to your perfect home, but what do you do when that home becomes attached to you? A family in dire need of a fresh start, a mysterious house tied to the past. Buried deep within the foundation of the old Far Hill Manor lies a centuries-old secret. Dark forces or something stronger just waiting to be discovered. Caretaker, a supernatural thriller by breakout authors R.J. Halpert.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest W.T. Hamilton, who's sharing with us his new book, Infinite Actuality. The truth is stranger than fiction. So how can people tap into their intuition?
The important part is to understand that there is more layers to reality than the simple explanation that we kind of all learn as we're kids and all kind of keep going as a narrative as we become adults. But being aware that there's more layers, it actually frees you to understand the possibilities that you have in your own life if you start to understand how these things work, how they interplay, and why they were created. These narratives, these limitations were put in place for a certain period of time, and now how you can remove those and start to bend time and really create the things that you want to, because you have this infinite reality that you're living in, and it's up to you to create the life that you want by your design. But you have to understand the limits that were there that are kind of illusions, and removing those illusions will help you to see clearer what you can become and what you can do with your life and with your reality.
In what ways do you believe ancient wisdom and modern insights can complement each other to help humanity face the level of turmoil that we face today?
So when you look back at what happened before and some of the perils and almost like extinction level events that mankind faced in the past, we've always been guided to a way forward, to a way to master any challenge that's come our way, even the ones that look like they were going to be devastating challenges for all of mankind. And that ancient wisdom there's a lot of insight and information that's there that you can apply now, because we call it like the law of rhythm. So everything goes in cycles, so everything comes back. And I feel like we're back to kind of where we were in the beginning, when we were really open to anything that could be possible. But understanding that even when we faced strange things and extreme things, we were always safe because we had this connection. We felt this spiritual connection, and the spiritual connection was helping us to navigate with intuition and with insight to a better outcome than the outcome that maybe we were looking at. So I feel like using our modern technology and our modern understanding of things, and when you marry that to the ancient wisdom, it's really a GPS to help you move forward in a way that maybe we're not utilizing as much right now. But as more people become open to it and understand it, that we can navigate even our biggest tests, like climate change and all these different things that we're facing, by understanding that we've always persevered before, but we've done that through insight, innovation, and spirituality.
In your book, you talk about timeless quest for salvation. Why is that important?
I think that that's the ultimate goal, is for us to persevere. We're here to persevere, to expand, and to create. And so the salvation is really feeling like you've succeeded, and now you're safe. Because I think we're always trying to find that safety and find that the higher level, like what's beyond where we're at now, what's beyond this physical realm. When we leave this place and we're in the spiritual realm, what's beyond that? And so I think that's the ultimate quest, is salvation, so that we always can continue as a species.
What challenges did you face when you're writing this book? I mean, it's got such complex, concepts that I really applaud you, because you've made them so easy for many people to understand.
So the premise was really trying to put the reader in the room, and to do it in an unbiased way, where if you just go into this reading the book, the different chapters, understanding what it was like for our ancestors, because it's really what I wanted to get across, is what would it have been like for our ancestors to experience these things and to face some of these dilemmas, and then how would you have done it? Would you have done anything different? I feel like when you're reading this, the way that I wrote it, you realize that the decisions our ancestors made were the best decisions for the time and for the situation that they were in. But the challenge really was, how deep do I go? Because as I was peeling back these layers, it was like a rabbit hole. It was just taking me deeper and deeper into the layers of reality, where the premise I had was this constructive narrative, the curated narrative. How did that come about? And I really wanted to dig through that, but it kind of took me on another journey of the spiritual connection, and really going deeper into layers of reality that I find is a very challenging. Even when I wrote them, I wasn't sure if am I revealing too much, and is it almost to science fiction, and so that's why each chapter begins with a quote about fiction and how fiction and reality kind of play with each other. And so I use famous people that use quotes for each chapter just to kind of keep you in that realm of understanding that, truth is stranger than fiction, and what you're about to read is going to be very very strange.
Well, I think we see this all the time in the movies. I mean, Back to the Future had a lot of different things. It came out with the hoverboard. We've got that now. Glasses that you can watch TV on. We've got those, so
Yeah.
so it's interesting when fiction is like the precursor to the different realities that we're being made aware of. And one of the things that you talk about in your book is dual reality. And I think that really touches on what we're speaking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And dual reality, that was another one that was I kind of struggled at first to explain it, to to see how I could write it that it would make sense. That we have the old narrative, which is our old reality, and that limitations of that, and then we're opening up to this whole new reality that's more a spiritual thing, but also understanding that the ancient past is actually more of our real reality than the narrative, the created narrative that we've held onto for so long, and by understanding that eventually we have to let go of our simplistic understanding of reality and really accept this deeper, more layered reality. Even if we don't understand it deeply, we have to understand that it's there, and there's way more to life than what initially meets the eye. And so that dual reality is that struggle of, I want to hold on to the old stuff because the old stuff is safe. Ignorance is bliss. But this new stuff is really going to push us forward and bring us to a better place if we're willing and strong enough to accept it.
How do you hope Infinite Actuality will impact readers' perception of reality and their place in the universe?
I really hope that they're going to be able to, by walking through the journey of the ancestors, really understand where we're at now and where we can take this. Like, there's endless possibilities. That's why it's called infinite actuality. Like, there's infinite realities that we could actually create once we really let go of the old limitations that we had, that were important at the time, to understand why they existed at the time and why we probably don't need them so much now. And by understanding that, I think readers will start to have more insight into just how to use your creative mind and how to connect to the cosmic consciousness, to be able to achieve your goals and dreams, and to be able to solve the big problems that we're facing, and maybe the bigger problems that are coming that we haven't seen yet.
I think it gives us a lot of freedom in the ability to know that we can manage whatever problems come up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
For those that are skeptics out there, what do you want to say to them?
I understand, because I was a skeptic too, and I've been on a journey. I've tried to maybe distance between the journey, but I've been through a journey. It took me time to really accept some of these things and to understand them. So I understand when you're skeptic, but just to look at it and to see the way that I've wrote I've done it in a logical way where there's no emotions, there's no, I'm not holding on to anything. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just giving you a logical. This is what happened. This is what it would have been like to be there. And then I always ask the question: Would you have done anything differently? And I think that when you can be open to that, you'll start to understand that there's nothing wrong with you know a deeper understanding of reality than the simplistic one that we have. But it can really enrich your life once you accept that certain things are certain ways because of a manipulated history, as we can say. But once you let go of that, you really go back the beginning when anything was possible and everything was possible. Like it was unquestioned. And then that's where I think readers will get there. But skeptics, I understand, because I was skeptic about a lot of things in my journey to get to where I am now. And I slowly peeled back those layers and started to accept that this really makes sense. It feels right. Like spiritually, it feels right. It feels like that's more logical than the old narrative that I was holding on to.
Well, WT, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more, not just about Infinite Actuality, but all of your other books as well?
So I have a website, mindsetforsuccesstraining.com, and there's links to all the different things that I'm doing there. And then on Instagram at w.t.hamilton, you can have links to my Amazon page. I have all my books on Amazon. A lot of them they're about mindset and manifesting your goals and dreams. And then the last two books really goes deeper into the spirituality part of it.
Well, I highly suggest everyone pick up one of your books. I found them to be quite insightful. WT, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
I really enjoyed us chatting with you, Marianne. It was a great show.
Well, thank you, WT. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Infinite Actuality. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.